Anyways, this is jw28martin's Sports Talk. I'm your host, jw28martin. Here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs that's coming up here. We got Wild Card Weekend coming up this upcoming weekend. Some of the teams that we got going on. Of course, I'm rocking a Derrick Henry jersey tonight, everybody. That Mr. 2,000 yards accomplished that. 8th player in NFL history to do so. So I'm going to review some of the Wild Card Weekend games. But first, I'm also going to review the standings. So as of right now, the final standings for the year for the 7 playoff teams we got here. You got the Packers as the number 1 seed. You have the Saints as the number 2 in the NFC. You have the Seahawks as the number 3. You have the Washington football team as the number 4. The Tampa Bay Bucks at 5. The Rams at 6, and the Chicago Bears at 7. That rounds out the NFC. In the AFC, it goes the Chiefs at 14-2. The Bills being the number 2 seed, winning the AFC East for the first time in a long time, ladies and gentlemen. You got the Steelers at 12-4. You got the Titans. Then you got the Ravens, the Browns, and then to round it off out, you got the Colts. Those are some fantastic teams. I was a little disappointed not to see the Giants make the playoffs, and also was disappointed not to see the Dolphins make the playoffs. Personally, I'm a Jets fan, so my hat hasn't been in the ring for about 10 years when it comes to playoffs. Playoffs? You kidding me? Not as a Jets fan. All right, so we got, let's see, stupid ads. All right, here we go. We got the first game, the Colts and the Bills. So Colts at the Bills, and they've actually just recently allowed a limited capacity of fans at that playoff game for the Bills. In all honesty, you got the Colts with the number 1 defense, or at least a top 5 defense, I believe. And then you got the Bills, who have been on fire. I have to give it to the Bills. Like, they got way better receivers. They got a way more balanced team. And Josh Allen, let's face it, guy deserves to be in the MVP conversation. He's been that good this year, guys. He's been literally that good this year. So for me, like, that's an easy one. Bills are going to take out the Colts. Sorry, Phillip Rivers. Bye-bye. Then we got the Rams and the Seahawks. The big question on that one will be, will Jared Goff be ready for that after dealing with thumb surgery? That's the biggest question for them. But also you have to think, if you're John Wolford, I believe the guy's name is. Sorry if I butchered your name, but the easiest thing for him is you got to think he's going in against a pedestrian Seahawks defense, basically. Like, their pass defense has been absolutely god awful this whole year. Let's see, just to be exact with everybody here. So, Seahawks are allowing about 23 points a game, and they're averaging about 380 yards per game. So, about 285 yards of passing allowed, compared to the Rams, who are only allowing a 190.7. Wow. So, if that tells you anything, dude, the Seahawks defense isn't as good. Well, it'll never be Legion of Boom standards by any means. But you would have thought when they traded for Jamal Adams that team would have been a lot better. Yes, Jamal Adams broke the record for most sacks by a safety, but come on now. That has not. It's resulted in them being a 12-4 squad. Don't get me wrong, that's amazing, but I don't know if they have what it takes to make it past this round. If in the case that Goff does return. But also, I don't know. Goff couldn't be 100, could be only 75% of the way. Who knows? But all I know is the surgery was bad enough, hard enough on him that he couldn't play on week 17, which was a winner go home kind of game. So, if I was going to take my pick, I'm going to say if this is the case that Goff is not playing, or if Goff is at 75%, I'm going to take Seattle just because Russell Wilson, when the game's on the line, when there's a big game, the guy shows up, and let's face it, it's just I don't think it's meant to be for the Rams to beat the Seahawks. This will be the third time they play them this season, and pretty sure Seattle, if I can figure out what have they played for games against each other. So they've split in the two games that they've played. The Rams won their lost the last meeting. Back in week 16, you had the Seahawks beat the Rams 20-9. And then way back in week 10, the Seahawks lost 23-16. So we'll see it. But if I was a betting man on this, I would throw my hat on the Seahawks. And now we move to the Buccaneers and the Washington football team. So the one thing that scares me about this game is I think a lot of people would say I'm crazy, but I definitely think Washington could win this game. I truly believe that. The only reason why I say that with Washington is that they have the best. They have one of the best pass rushes in the game. They're averaging less than 200 yards per game on their pass defense, and their rush defense is a little suspect for sure. And I will say the Buccaneers pass defense is actually a lot worse than Washington. And the thing is, for Brady going against Chase Young, dude, you have to admit that kid has showed up big time, and one of the biggest reasons why they're a playoff team and unfortunately why the Giants aren't. They don't have an elite pass rusher like that kid right there. But that's just I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. I'm going to say Washington wins this game. I think it's going to be a trap game. I think Tampa Bay's not going to I think they're going to take them lightly. I don't think they're going to that's my opinion. I just don't think they're going to think, oh, they're 7-9. They don't belong here. Oh, we're just going to take them lightly. We'll be able to run them right over anyways. And the thing is, you got Alex Smith, a veteran Alex Smith, the quarterback for the Washington team. You got a guy who nearly lost his leg, lost his life. What has he got to lose at this point when it comes to being in the playoffs? The guy led the team to the playoffs because of him. It was because of that kid, that man right there, with the help of Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and you have Chase Young. And that Washington defense has been pretty damn good this year. So, yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Washington wins the game by a touchdown. Then we got the Sunday games. We have the Ravens and the Titans. That's going to be the game I want to watch right there. That's the 1 o'clock game on ABC and ESPN. My guess would be, so you got the reigning MVP from last year in Lamar Jackson, but you also have an MVP candidate in Derrick Henry and possibly even Tannehill, man. Like Tannehill has in which let me just start by saying this. It's easy to be a really good quarterback when you have this man on your damn team. Derrick Henry is the best running back in football, period. There is no more questions. This man is the best. That you can't argue with it. Like the guy has a 2,000-yard season this year. He is shy of Eric Dickerson's record by like 75 yards or something like that. So he has a week 18 game, which doesn't exist in the NFL for regular season. But if he did, dude, the guy would easily break it. And you got to think, third time going over 200 yards this season. Oh man, that. But I will say this for the Ravens. You remember what happened to you last year. You lost when everybody thought you were untouchable. You lost to a wild card Titans team. So I will say this. Who knows? But I'm going to say this right now. No bias. I love Derrick Henry, but my money's on the Titans. Tannehill's been playing well. Henry's been playing well. Defense is all right. It's not amazing. But I will say this though. Both rush defenses are okay. The Titans' pass defense is a little suspect, but I would take my money on the Tennessee Titans, and I'm gonna say that Derrick Henry has a big day. That's the only way Titans win the game. Derrick Henry has to go over 100 yards, and if he doesn't, they won't win this football game. So my money would be on the Titans, and now we got the Bears and the Saints. So this one's gonna probably be the easiest one for me on this game. I'm gonna actually take the Saints, and I'm just gonna explain straight up why. Trust me, Trubisky's been playing well. The Bears have been playing halfway decent, but they can't compete with Drew Brees and the Saints. They can't. They really can't. Like, that team is loaded. They'll have Mike Thomas back, I believe. They have Emmanuel Sanders. They got Jared Cook. They got one of the best defenses in football. It's got to be the Saints. Saints will win that game, and I'm going to say by double digits. I'll say more specific. I say 14 to 17 points. And then we got the Browns and the Steelers, which I know all you Steeler fans are going to be pissed when I say this, but I think the Browns are going to win. And the reason why I say that is because Steelers have looked tired the last few weeks. Yeah, they are a 12-4 team. They deserve as much respect as anybody. But I just don't think they have it in them to one, do a lengthy playoff run, and two, I don't think they have what it takes to slow down the best 1-2 punch at running back. You got Nick Chubb, and you have Kareem Hunt. And then you also have Baker Mayfield, who has been playing out of his mind this year. It's been a great year for the Browns. Congrats to them, man, for breaking their curse of missing the playoffs. Now the Jets actually have the worst playoff drought. Congratulations, Jets. You really, truly suck now. But, yeah, so I'm going to take the Browns because of their rushing attack. Their defense isn't as good as the Steelers. The Steelers have a great defense, but I just don't think they're going to have what it takes to stop that Browns rushing attack. And once you get that rushing attack going, then you're going to get to the point where you can run play action and You got Landry on that team. You got some good underrated receivers as well. No Odell, but still, I think they have what it takes to beat the Steelers and go on to the next round. So just to review, guys. So I picked the Bills. I picked the Seahawks. I picked the Washington football team. I picked the Titans. I picked the Saints. And I picked the Browns. That's that I'm gonna stick with those. I will also say this. I'm gonna tell you guys. Well, I'm gonna tell all you guys my picks for the Super Bowl and the AFC and NFC title games. So I'm going to say for the NFC title game, I will say let's think about this for a second. I'm going to start with the AFC. I think it's going to be the Bills and the Chiefs. I just think that the only other team that I could see being there is the Titans, because I really don't think the Ravens are going to win that game against the Titans. That's just how I feel. I don't think the Browns can make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, make it to the AFC title game. I just think the Bills and the Chiefs are the two best teams in the league when it comes to, at least on that side of the. And I think the Titans are probably the third best team. Sorry, Steelers fans. It's just I don't think you guys are that. I don't think you guys have what it takes to make it. So, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna call it Chiefs and Bills in the AFC, and in the NFC, I think I'm gonna stick with the top two seeds. I think it's gonna be the Packers and the Saints for the NFC, and I see the Super Bowl that we should have seen a few years back, where I think we should see the Packers and I wouldn't mind seeing the Packers and the Chiefs, or the Packers or the Saints and the Chiefs. So there you have it. I'm going to officially lock my Super Bowl pick in. I'm going Chiefs, and I'm going the Saints. Actually, I'm gonna go that route. I'm gonna go Chiefs Saints for the Super Bowl. And I'm going to say Chiefs repeat as Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes gets a Super Bowl MVP again. And that's the way it's going to go, I think. But I'm going to do a quick review on the season. Like, it was one hell of a season from the aspect that, hey, we had, let's see, seeds 4 through 7 all were 11-5. Plus, you had a 10-16 miss the playoffs in the AFC, and over in the NFC, you had it so awkward. You had 13-3, 12-4, 12-4, 7-9, 11-5, 10-6, 8-8 make the playoffs, and unfortunately for Larry Fitz and the Cardinals, they didn't make it, which I was very disappointed. I wanted to see the Cardinals in it. I think they would have been better off than having the Bears in it. I think that was some trash, but they got one more year, and I hope Larry Fitz doesn't retire. I hope he plays one more year. I think if they play their cards right this offseason, they do some necessary upgrades to that team. I honestly think they have what it takes to challenge for the NFC next year. They just didn't. They just needed another stepping stone year, and this is what they needed. Finish 8-8, and they'll be back next year. Few teams that I'm interested to see what they do in the offseason to improve their chances is to make the playoffs, or in the case of what they're just going to do, period, because there's just so much question marks, so many question marks around that team. You have in my opinion, the Vikings, because Cousins, Kirk Cousins, Thielen, that team, a huge question mark because, in all honesty, dude, they went 7-9. They haven't performed up to par when they gave Kirk Cousins that major contract. I'm definitely, like I said, the Cardinals. I think the Giants will be something to look at if they do the right moves in the offseason. They finished 6-10, which was definitely an upgrade from what they did last year. They continue to work on that offensive line. Their defense definitely came along a little bit towards the end. So we'll see. I definitely think they're a team to look at. One of the bigger question marks, I'd say, is the Cowboys. How they're going to be going into next year. Because how is that foot going to be for Dak? And honestly, like, Zeke was trash without Zeke was absolutely trash without him. So we'll see. There's a lot to go by on that as well. 49ers, will Garoppolo stay? Will he go? Rumors say he might go back to New England. Who knows on that one? But that would be another team I'm just wondering about. The Eagles, the Falcons, I'm curious what they're going to do in the offseason. Falcons, for the reason why I think I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a move, try to trade Matt Ryan. And honestly, I've heard some things about possibly Matt Ryan going to the Niners and replacing Garoppolo because Kyle Shanahan has history with him from when he was in Atlanta. But also for the Falcons, I wouldn't rule out them completely blowing that team up, trading away Julio Jones, trading away Matt Ryan, trading away any of their like prize players just to start rebuilding and maybe move up. Who knows? Maybe they would be willing to trade up to the Jets spot or even the Jags spot and take Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. But that's a conversation for another day. I will get into the whole draft thing at some point down the line. We got a couple months before I hop into that situation. We got a couple months before we even hit free agency. So I will definitely be back to do a free agency kind of deal, talk about some of my favorite teams and stuff like that, or some of the teams that I would be watching in free agency. And then in the AFC, I'm curious with the Colts, even though they made the playoffs, I'm curious if this is it for Rivers. Where do they go from here? Do they go with Brissett, or what do they go on that deal? And I'm also interested to see what the Dolphins do. They have great leadership. They have a great coach in Flores, and they took a huge step in the right direction. No one expected them to go 10-6 and nearly make the playoffs. I think the biggest thing is Tua needs to take a huge step next year, and it was his rookie year. He's going to make mistakes, but I think with the coaching they have, he can take the next step forward and be a good second-year QB. And I think they should also bring back Fitzpatrick too, because I think he's good for that kid to be around. Also, I'm curious with what the Patriots will do. I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Jets fan, of course. I'm not a fan. I don't like the Patriots at all, but I'm very curious to see where they go at this point, because this is something that's unprecedented. This hasn't happened in 20 years. There's a huge question mark in that quarterback room. My guess would be they're going to draft a guy or they're going to trade for a huge name, whether that would be Matt Ryan, whether that would be Matthew Stafford. Some of those names are going to be swirling around, because you got to think Detroit at this point, there's no way they're going to be a playoff team anytime soon. So why not, especially when they're probably not going to be able to re-sign Galladay, at this point, why not make the move, blow the team up? Yes, Stafford has done a lot for that franchise, but dude, do the man a favor and get him out of there. Like he deserves to be on a better team than that. That team sucks. That franchise sucks. The ownership sucks in Detroit. Like they don't know how to win a Super Bowl in that city. They don't. So that would be my feeling on that. Another team, the Texans. Where do they go from here? After you get rid of Bill O'Brien, you gotta just like my favorite team, the Jets. You got the Jets, the Jags, the Texans, the Chargers. All those teams have fired their head coaches as of right now. Honestly, I've heard names like Urban Meyer for the Jets and even other teams. Of course, everybody is thinking about the hot shot offensive coordinator from Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy, and I think he'd be a great coach. I would prefer somebody that's been a head coach before, but I definitely wouldn't shoot that down. My preference would be to grab Harbaugh from Michigan. I know a lot of people are probably like, why would you want him? I'm like, dude, when he was in the league, he was a great coach. He was a great motivator, and I saw what he did for Alex Smith and what he did for Kaepernick. Like, he made them better. So my belief would be, if I was going to rank my coaches, I'd take Urban Meyer, I'd take the Harbaugh, and then my third would be Bieniemy, the Kansas City offensive coordinator. That would be my top three if I were to pick a coach. And though I've heard that Jets are not the favorite to get Urban Meyer. I will say this: I've heard that Harbaugh likes the job in New York, so that's definitely an option there. He could definitely go that route. But also, why would you leave Michigan for a dumpster fire like the Jets right now? You know why? They got a number 2 overall pick. They got another first-round pick. They got a second-round pick, and they got a bunch of other picks for over the next couple of years. And you would have the flexibility that your job's not gone in a year or even 2. Where the Jags, dude, that coaching position is going to be a revolving door for a while if they screw up on this draft and screw up in free agency. But hell, they've done well in the last few years, and then they just screwed it all up. So you don't know. We'll see. That's going to be a huge. It's going to be a huge off season for those teams. But that for right now, that's where I'm going to stick with. Those are the teams that that I think you all should pay attention to going into the off season. We'll see how it goes. But for now, just going to say thank you all for watching. For the people that will watch this later on in the day or for the days to come, thank you. Do me a favor, please hit the subscribe button. Hit a like on this video if you like this video. I appreciate any feedback you can give me as well. I guess this is where I say peace, everybody. God bless you all. Have a good night.